Housekeeper, what are you standing around for? Can't you even make coffee? Cindy orders me around like she owns the place. Derek, my husband, laughs along with her. To them, I'm not family. I'm just the housekeeper. I don't need a family like this. I've been in touch with someone else. My name is Irene, a 28-year-old office worker. I met Derek through a friend, and we hit it off, especially when we found out we both work for group companies. We got married last year thinking it was fate.
So, we're going next year, right?
No. As Thanksgiving approaches, Derek keeps bringing it up. He wants to go to his parents' home. Honestly, I really don't want to go. And I have a good reason. His unbearable mother, Cindy. I didn't realize it when we were dating, but Derek is a mama's boy, to put it nicely. We're supposed to be newlyweds enjoying the happiest time of our lives. But every morning, Derek calls Cindy before even saying hello to me. After a cheerful chat, he hangs up and finally greets me. It's creepy. When he gets home, he talks to Cindy on the phone until bedtime. I can't tell who's the wife here. To make matters worse, he's been taking more business trips lately. Naturally, we fight all the time. I get that Cindy is important to you, but isn't this a bit much? Derek yells back.
What's wrong with talking to my family?
After fights like this, he usually hands me a pre-filed divorce application the next day. I take it thinking, here we go again. But by evening, he acts like nothing happened. So when are we getting divorced? I ask.
Well, I talked to Mom and she said we should stick it out for the sake of appearances. You should be grateful to me.
This has become our routine. I wish you could see how ridiculous this all is from my perspective. By the way, there are other reasons I can't stand Cindy. Like the time Derek and I went to his parents' home for a family meeting. She greeted me with, "Oh, you're so cute." But once we sat down, there was no coffee for me. By the way, his dad passed away a long time ago.
"Oh, I must have forgotten because I was so nervous," she said.
Looking back, it was clearly intentional. When Derek stepped away to take a work call, she said, "You really are cute." When I blushed, she said, "You can't even take a joke, how foolish." Then she chuckled, "I can't believe you thought you could marry Derek with that face. You're so thick-skinned." According to Cindy, I'm not good enough for her successful son. For the record, I also work for a reputable company, so it's not like I'm underqualified. If anything, Derek's company is slightly more prestigious.
"Well, if Derek wants to get married, you'd make a perfect housekeeper," she laughed.
That's why I've disliked Cindy from the start. Who would willingly go to a home like that? But if I say anything to Derek, he'll just get moody again. Ugh. I can't help but sigh. Last Thanksgiving, Cindy was down with a cold. She insisted Derek come home, and despite my objections, he went back alone, saying he was worried. I spent the holiday with my parents and my loving Uncle Cyrus and his wife. I wanted to talk about Derek, but I didn't want to worry my family, especially my frail mom with a bad heart. Uncle Cyrus sensed something was off and told me to speak up if anything was bothering me. Sure enough, Derek caught the virus from Cindy and even passed it on to me. Both of us were bedridden when the doorbell rang. Dragging my sick body to the door, I found Cindy standing there. I thought I was delirious from the fever, but when she shoved me aside, I realized it was real. She walked up to Derek and then turned to me saying, "Can't you even take proper care of Derek, you useless woman?" I'm sick too, and the man lying there is a grown adult over 30. The reason we're in this mess is because of you, I thought, but I couldn't say it out loud. At least someone who can move is here, I thought, begrudgingly grateful to Sydney. But then she said, "By the way, I have no intention of taking care of you. You're not family." I regretted even the slightest expectation I had of her. After that, Cindy took care of Derek as if I didn't exist. Derek, instead of defending me, said,
I thought this one could at least handle household chores. Sorry for the disappointment, Mom.
I couldn't believe it. He called me this one? A disappointment. Those are my lines. What am I to Derek? Why did he marry me? I pondered these questions, but my fever was high and I fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, Derek and Cindy were gone, and there was a WhatsApp message saying, "Feel better. So I'm going out with Mom. Get well soon. You're a nuisance." I found it so absurd that I couldn't stop laughing. That was last year's Thanksgiving. Since then, I haven't seen Cindy. Despite all this, Derek acts like nothing happened and says,
"We're going to my parents' house next year, right?"
I have no idea what he's thinking or how he feels. Then something happened. It was Christmas, which is also our wedding anniversary. It's been a tough year since we got married, but I thought we could at least enjoy today. That's what I thought. In the morning, I asked Derek, "Do you remember what today is?" He thought for a moment and said,
"Yeah, I remember."
I cooked all his favorite dishes and even ordered a beautifully decorated cake. But that night, no matter how long I waited, Derek didn't come home. Did something happen to him? Worried, I called him and he finally answered. "Hey, where are you? I'm getting worried."
"I'm at my parents' house."
I was so shocked my mind went blank. "You're at your parents' house? Why?" I was still processing this when he said,
"I didn't realize until you reminded me this morning. I bought a cake as a surprise for Mom, and she was so moved when she cried. I'm glad I could spend Christmas with family. You're occasionally useful."
I was furious. "You know today is our wedding anniversary, right? I've been waiting for you." Realizing he messed up, Derek fell silent before finally saying,
"Who are you to criticize me?"
He came home late that night looking grumpy. After a long silence, I broke the ice. "Why did you marry me?" According to Derek, marriage was just a step for a career advancement. Being married is a status symbol in society and at work. All of his bosses are married, he said. He married me because I seemed like someone who would quietly obey him. The proof is that all of Derek's bosses are married. But after marriage, he felt suffocated with less time for Cindy. He said he's only staying married to protect his reputation. He admitted that bringing up divorce papers was just for the fun of seeing me distressed. However, he told me that he was just doing it without getting divorced because it would affect his reputation if he divorced me right away. At this point, I was completely over him. "I can't do this anymore." He retorted,
"Who cares what you think? Just keep being a housekeeper. I talked to Mom and I'll be moving back home and commuting from there."
Luckily, our place and his parents' home aren't too far apart, so commuting isn't an issue. I vehemently opposed living with his parents, but he insisted on living near them. Fortunately, he moved back to his parents' place, so Cindy never came to our house. "I want a divorce," he said.
"Go ahead and try,"
and left with a few belongings. After he left, I contacted someone. For the next few days, life was peaceful. The house felt lighter without Derek. But the day before Thanksgiving, I got a call from an unexpected Cindy. I thought it was a wrong number, but when she called again, I answered. She was unusually polite. "Sorry to bother you. Would you like to spend Thanksgiving together? It's lonely being alone and we should get along." It was unlike anything Cindy had ever said. When I visited their home that day, she greeted me with a smile, which felt creepy. Derek was in the living room, but avoided eye contact. Cindy said, "I heard from Derek that divorce isn't good for public image." She was smiling, but her eyes weren't. She was desperate to keep us from divorcing, even if it was just for show. "Do you consider me family, Cindy?" For the first time, I talked back. She flinched but recovered, saying, "Of course, Iris." I burst into laughter. "You can't even remember my name and you call me family?" She had never called me by name. It was always housekeeper, or at worst, hey. Angry at my audacity, she snapped, "Enough, Derek, get rid of this stupid housekeeper." Derek seemed to be pondering about his career. "Did you get a call from the boss? It must be about a promotion."
"Well, you might be right. Listen, Irene, if you keep talking like that, I'll divorce you."
"Derek, you're getting promoted soon, unlike a failure like you. He'll need a wife from a good family this time." It appears that Derek got a personal call from his boss. "Oh, really?" I replied. "If you get it, then act like a housekeeper and do your job. What are you standing there for? Can't you even make coffee?" Cindy said. So I quietly made coffee, slammed the mug on the table, and dropped a bombshell. "Who are you talking about? Being a wife or a housekeeper?" "I'm a stranger to you now, so I'm leaving." Both of them looked shocked.
"What do you mean?"
Derek asked. "I already filed for divorce."
"You can't just file on your own. Forgery is a crime. Did you commit a crime?" he yelled.
"What are you talking about? You had 10 divorce papers at home. It was great for practice. Besides, you told me to file if I could, so I did." Derek seemed to remember and looked regretful. But he quickly regained composure and said,
"I'm future executive. You'll be the one regretting."
He continued to insult me, calling me a leftover in my 30s, among other things. Annoyed, I said, "If you're unhappy with the divorce, let's go to court. I've recorded your verbal abuse, so it won't look good for you. Oh, and this conversation too. Looking forward to our next meeting," and left. Days later, I went to a certain place. I had taken a day off from work. I had an appointment, so I was let in right away. When I entered the room, there was someone looking surprised. It was Derek. Sitting a little away from him was his direct boss, the department head.
"What are you doing here?"
Ignoring Derek, I walked straight to the department head and sat across from Derek. The room fell silent, and the department head began to speak.
"Derek, is it true you got divorced?"
Derek hesitated for a moment and then started spouting nonsense.
"I've never been happy since I got married. She doesn't do housework because we're a two-income family and she even takes all my salary. I've reached my limit."
That's a complete lie. When we got married, Cindy had imposed strange conditions on me. First, to be perfect at housework, and to give all my salary to Derek. I thought I had been doing as told. I cleaned, and even prepared balanced meals, considering Derek's health. Derek would give me a small allowance and take the rest. So I had no money to spend freely. So everything this man is saying is a complete lie. The idea that housework is solely a woman's job, regardless of whether it's a two-income family or a housewife, is absurd.
"I did get divorced, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. I'm the victim for marrying a crazy woman,"
Derek rambled on, taking advantage of our silence.
"So, I'd like to accept the promotion."
Hearing that, the department head responded,
"You seem to be misunderstanding something. Whether an employee is married or not, I never change my evaluation based on that. What you just said suggests you see your spouse as nothing more than a tool, doesn't it?"
Derek remained silent. "Don't you have anything to say to me?" I asked. Derek scoffed.
"What? I'm the one who should be thanked for marrying someone like you."
The department head began to speak softly. He has a younger brother, and watching his younger brother's marriage makes him happy. His younger brother has always been sincere and kind, and his sister-in-law may not be physically strong, but she's devoted and always smiling. They have a daughter, and she's grown up to be a good, honest child. Probably because she's been watching her parents. The department head and his wife couldn't have children, so they think of their niece as their own daughter. Derek looked indifferent to the story.
"That's precisely why I can't forgive you,"
said the department head, his face turning red with anger. Then I decided to reveal a truth I had kept from Derek. "It's okay, Uncle Cyrus." Hearing that, Derek exploded.
"What are you thinking? Calling the department head uncle is disrespectful." "See, she's crazy." The department head looked at him coldly. "The one being disrespectful is you. You've been calling my lovely niece crazy. It's nothing but unpleasant." "What?"
I've kept quiet, but this man is my dad's older brother, in other words, my uncle. The story of Uncle Cyrus told about his younger brother's family was actually about my family. Uncle Cyrus and his wife, who couldn't have children, have always cherished me, their niece, as if I were their own daughter. When I first met Derek and found out he was under Uncle Cyrus, I was genuinely surprised. I debated whether to tell him, but I was working in a group company and didn't want to be accused of nepotism, so I kept it a secret. Of course, I joined my current company on my own merit. No one knows that Uncle Cyrus and I are related. Our last names are common, so Derek probably never thought twice about it. I had asked Uncle Cyrus to keep it a secret until I said something. He might think we would have met at family gatherings, but we never even had a wedding ceremony. Officially, we said we didn't have time or that I was too shy, but the real reason was different.
A wedding is a waste of money,
Derek and Cindy had said. He probably didn't want to spend time and money on me, whom he saw as nothing more than a housekeeper. I wanted to wear a wedding dress too. My mom looked so beautiful in the pure white dress she wore in the wedding photo with my dad that's been displayed in our living room for many years. I had dreamed of that moment since I was a little girl. When my parents offered to help financially, she said,
"Are you kidding me? Both parties should contribute to that. Well, I definitely won't."
So we only had a small family dinner with just our parents. By the way, Derek didn't even offer to pay for the small family dinner, so I paid for it all. My parents gave me some money afterwards, saying I should keep it. I chose the place for the small family dinner, but Cindy made a snide comment.
"This place is mediocre."
The day after the dinner, my mom called and said,
"Irene, are you sure you want to marry Derek? His mom seems a bit off too. We're really worried."
I was also feeling uneasy about Derek's transformation. He was kind when we were dating, but now I realize he was probably just desperate to secure a convenient housekeeper. That's what I realized now. Back then, I was naive enough to think he would go back to being the Derek I knew and protect me from Cindy. Thanks for worrying, but Derek is usually very kind. I'm sure he'll protect me. I assured my parents, who didn't press the issue after that. However, I had asked Uncle Cyrus to keep an eye on Derek. Learning the truth, Derek was visibly shocked.
"There's no chance of a promotion. I can't forgive how you've treated Irene, but you've done something else unforgivable, and you know it,"
Uncle Cyrus said. Derek went pale. I couldn't care less what happens to him. "Goodbye. We'll never meet again," I said and left the room. Later, Uncle Cyrus told me a shocking truth. Derek had been taking day trips with Cindy under the guise of business trips and charging all the expenses to the company. Because Derek was vigilant at work, the checks were lax. What surprised me more was that Cindy had suggested it. Derek was fired, and Cindy is also under investigation as an accomplice. I couldn't care less, but I was utterly disgusted. I heard they'll be returning home soon, so I decided to sue them for emotional distress. I know they've been hoarding money, so I intend to make them pay. As for me, I was recently promoted to the first female managerial position. I thought I had given up on marriage, but I was introduced to the son of one of Uncle Cyrus's friends, and we've been spending more time together. He proposed to me recently, and I met his parents, who were very kind and remind me of my own parents. I'm very happy now.